Hi, my name is Joseph Anderson, and today I'll be demonstrating the QuickBooks Web Connector. In my demonstration, syncing QuickBooks and the Web Connector. So a little bit about me. I am the CEO and founder of Sync with Connex. I've worked with QuickBooks for the past 12 years. I'm the principal software developer, and I started writing the Connex for QuickBooks code back in 2011. I've helped set up hundreds of companies with QuickBooks Desktop. So what is the Web Connector? It's an intermediary between QuickBooks and your website. So you'll see here you have your Shopify, your Amazon on one side, and then you have us in the middle, and you have your QuickBooks down here. And you can do a two-way sync, so you could go from QuickBooks to Connex to WooCommerce to sync a stock change, or from QuickBooks to us to your ShipStation. The Web Connector is made by Intuit. It's used by third parties that want to integrate with their QuickBooks. So it wasn't actually made by our company. It's just something that we tie into. So unlike QuickBooks Online, QuickBooks Desktop doesn't have a direct connection to the internet. QuickBooks Online is web-based. You use a URL in your browser. It has a online API that you can work with. You could really think of the Web Connector as a phone that handles your incoming and outgoing calls, sort of with QuickBooks. So we'll send data to the Web Connector, and if it's formatted correctly, we'll send it to QuickBooks, and then QuickBooks will give us a response of, all right, I put these in, here's where the orders reside, or there's an error message, and tell us what it means. One of the issues you'll find with QuickBooks and your website, let's say your Shopify, is that they're speaking different languages, and that our software is translating your Shopify language to this language called QuickBooks XML that QuickBooks understands. So QuickBooks is sending and receiving this QBXML with the Web Connector, then it's talking to us, and then we're talking, with your website. So for example, QuickBooks will say, I uploaded these 10 inventory items. We'll send them back to your Shopify website, and your Shopify website might be expecting an ID number for the product and a stock quantity that has been updated. And so we'll translate the field in Shopify that could be called quantity on hand to the QuickBooks field quantity available. A lot of users will ask me, well, over time, I want to upgrade my QuickBooks. I want to go from Premier to Enterprise, or I want to go from 2019 to 2020. The QBXML, it's backwards compatible. So as you upgrade your QuickBooks, there's no need to upgrade Connex or uninstall and reinstall the software. It's all web-based. And one of the benefits of using this method is that it's easy to upgrade. Over time, QuickBooks is going to fix bugs. We're going to add features, and that you don't have to keep upgrading your website or upgrading your QuickBooks or your Web Connector all the time. So how does the Web Connector work? Well, let's take a look with Shopify. You have a basic order. Use the Web Connector tool to sync, and I didn't actually put the URL of my site. I just have a testing site here, you can see, and I have auto run enabled, which I'll talk about in a couple of minutes. A short amount of time passes. And you'll see the orders right in your QuickBooks. So I've shown you a single order, but what are the limits of the Web Connector? How much can it sync? Can I put 3 years worth of information? Is this like a bulk upload tool, or is this just date of install forwards? The Web Connector must receive a response within 2 minutes of the sync, or it will fail. And so for most of our customers, I say just sync 2 to 3 days at a time. I usually recommend that you start with the date of install forwards. I've had a lot of customers approach me and say, I'm missing 3 years worth of information. Can I put in 10, 15, 100,000 orders? Well, the answer to the question is, your connection with QuickBooks and your website is the size of a garden hose. I mean, you could put in a large number of orders in really small chunks, but it's not meant to be a bulk export tool. If you want to do like an initial import of, let's say, 10,000 products, I would export your products from QuickBooks as a spreadsheet and map your fields. And just use that for the initial and then use us moving forwards. Spreadsheets are really good for like a one-time initial sync because all the data is right there. Whereas the problem with anything that's web-based is that you have to connect to both sites and then you have to get them going. And it's not meant for transferring large chunks of information at one time. So here's another question that I get commonly asked. Can I auto-sync with a web connector? Do I have to keep checking the box to the left of Connex and click Update Selected? The answer is yes, you can auto-sync with a web connector, but you have to fulfill certain prerequisites. One of the biggest issues with desktop software as compared to QuickBooks Online is that a user has to be logged in and you have to have the computer with the sync turned on. Now, if you're using our sister product that connects through QuickBooks Online, your computer can be off. It can sync while you sleep. One of the issues with desktop, and desktop has a lot more functionality at this time than QuickBooks Online, you have to be logged in. The web connector has to be, minimized. Another issue that I see is that someone will set up the connector on a laptop, put it in another room. The laptop is in sleep mode or the screensaver's on, and it eventually turns itself off and the sync can't run. So if you're on a computer from 9 to 5, that's what I recommend pairing the web connector. And I have a lot of customers who use remote desktops, custom servers, or write networks. The user that paired Connex has to log in to the machine, and the web connector has to be minimized, and I'll talk about that in a few minutes. But if you pair as Joe at example.com and then Jane at example.com logs in, your sync's not going to work. In that case, you'd have to log into our site, log into QuickBooks as admin, and download a pairing file. You click on the pairing file, it asks you if you want to pair, you click OK, and you're now paired as Jane. So that way if Jane's logged in, it will run. If Joe is logged in, it will run. One of the biggest issues I see with a web connector is hiding and minimizing. Now on the top of the right of the web connector, there's a big red X. If you click that, the web connector should say you have scheduled jobs. If you exit, they're not going to run. You always want to click the minimize button or hide because if the web connector is turned off, if you click that X, no syncing will occur. So here's a screenshot of it. You can see here that we have auto run at 15 turned on. There is a sync interval you can use with a connector. You could actually check the box to the left of Connector and click Update Selected if you want to run it ASAP. But the default for the sync is 60 minutes. Another problem that I see is that users will have the auto run turned on to like 60 seconds or 2 minutes and the sync doesn't finish, and then there's other ones that are queued up and the web connector will say that it can't run because it's waiting for another sync to finish. And the solution is to either reboot your computer or simply go to your task manager and end the web connector task. So for orders, I like 60 minutes. If you want to sync on every 15 minutes, I guess that's also fine. Just make sure you give your web connector enough time to finish the existing task. A lot of people ask me, well, how fast can this sync? Is Connex a real-time sync? If you have two different databases, which you have with your website and QuickBooks, there will always be a delay. If your point of sale and website use different systems, such as you have QuickBooks point of sale and Shopify, I would migrate to Shopify POS because you've eliminated those databases, and then just kind of use us to sync your sales to QuickBooks on an every hour basis. I wouldn't use Connex if you need a real-time sync. There's going to be a 15, 30, 60-minute delay. I'm a big fan of keeping everything under one system. If it's like mission critical, put your point of sale and Shopify into the same system. That'll do all your inventory management, and then at the end of the day, we pull it in, so it's not really a priority. Does Connex support syncing with multiple company files? And the answer is yes. You can sync a single website to two different companies or sync two different websites to two different company files under the same account. During the initial install, Connex will download the file path from your QuickBooks into our software. So you could have a Shopify website go to company A and a WooCommerce website go to company B. If you close the file, Connex will tell the web connector that, all right, this is a file path for company A, use that one. Otherwise, if the file is open, then it's going to use the current path. So there's no problem syncing while the file is open at all. But if you move the connector, let's say you decide to move it from your Office to a Right Networks, you can press F2 in QuickBooks and you're going to get a file path. You can log into the Connex software, and on our configure page you can enter the file path. That way, if the file is closed, the sync will run normally. Connex does support syncing to 2 different company files, and it can be one website to 2 files, or it can be 2 different websites. Just make sure that if you're logged into B and the sync runs, it'll say, do you want to sync Shopify orders to the WooCommerce company file? You want to make sure that you click no. Otherwise, the wrong orders will go into the wrong file. You can easily adjust this if you go to Edit Preferences, Integrated Applications. You can click Properties next to Connex and just deny the access. So there is possible to make these settings adjustment at a later time if you miss the OK dialog. So do you support multi-user? We have a lot of companies who use QuickBooks on a multi-user basis. Usernames. One of the biggest issues that I've really seen with the web connector is that they'll pair it as admin and then somebody else logs in as admin and the connector is trying to log in at the same time. So let's say Joe at example.com, he's paired it, paired as admin. Jane at example.com logs into the QuickBooks as admin. The web connector says I can't log into admin because somebody's already in there. The easiest way to do this is to go into QuickBooks, go into company, users and roles, set up users, and I'll show you a screenshot in just a moment. Add a new user for Connex, give them the full access role, and that way the Connex has its own users so you can go back to doing your thing. And you can set the user for QuickBooks under the Edit Preferences menu of QuickBooks and click on Integrated Applications. You'll see Connex, you click Properties, and you can just easily set the username there. So here are some screenshots of the usernames. You can see here under users and roles I have Joe Test with full access, so you can see that I can log in as admin while Joe Test can log in at a later time. Another less common problem are computer issues. Your internet's down, your computer is maxed out, and it's less likely, but let's go over some of the problems that I've seen. So your internet connection, check your speed. You can easily Google, what is my internet speed and figure out whether it's low. I've had a lot of problems with DSL or dial-up, so you want to have a nice, reliable internet connection. I have a lot of customers in rural areas, and if it's fading in and out, it's just going to take longer to talk to your QuickBooks. Another issue that I've seen is PC hardware. I would right-click your task manager. Do you see the CPU and memory above 80%? If so, you need to move this to another computer. You can see a little screenshot of just one computer running the QuickBooks below. Finally, if you upgrade QuickBooks, uninstall 2018-2019. Intuit has an instance finder, so it should know to choose 2020 or 2018, but you just want to make sure you have one version of QuickBooks. I have seen the instance finder fail. The web connector is relatively simple, and you can set it up yourself. You simply log in as admin, you click a file, you click OK, and choose a user. So let's go over a brief summary of today's presentation. You want to make sure you have good internet access, you've checked the auto run, you minimize the connector. I would say minimizing the connector has been a common issue. People close it out all the time. Make sure you're logged into the PC, and if you use a Mac and you use Right Networks, you have to log in once in a while to make sure the tool runs. Now with the company file, you can't open file B and sync with file A. You also can't have 2 companies open or 2 QuickBooks open at the same time. So you got to close it down, or you got to open one file, and it's got to be the proper file. If you do have QuickBooks closed, make sure that Connex knows where your file is located, because the sync's going to fail if it doesn't know what file that you're using. one version of QuickBooks. You can't have 2018, 2019, 2020, 2021 on the same machine. You'll get it confused. Just use one version. And finally, a big issue I've seen, especially in multi-user environments, give Connex its own username or just use the admin user. So after watching this presentation, if you still experience technical issues, what are the next steps? Visit our support site at help.sync.withconnex.com, and on the top right you can submit a support ticket. All of our staff is US based, and we do respond within 1 business day. And so that will end my demonstration for today. Feel free to reach out to us if you have any questions or concerns about the Web Connector. Thank you.